head back and forth for I don't know how many laps, 10 laps or so, and he was on the outside of me, and it kept me pinched just enough to where I couldn't let the car fade up, and finally I was able to just kind of inch in front of him just enough so I could swing the car out, and once I did that, then I knew we were sitting pretty good because like I said, the car just kept getting better and better.
Well, watching your car, you were one of the few cars in that race that did get better and better as the race progressed. And I think what you just said was key, because the harder you race with Walters, and that's about the time he started to fade, was because he was working that car really hard. And I think he probably burned his tires up there in that battle with you, because as he started to fade, you just started pulling away, and you put quite a bit of distance between you and the 22 car of Walters. And that was a race that I think people will talk about for a while. But I think Greg's battle plan, his plan of victory kind of went against him and trying to pinch you down, not giving you room. I think that's ultimately what cost him, because it burned his tires up.
Well, I mean, he was doing what he needed to do. I mean, he gave me plenty of room, and, it's not very often you get a race against guys like that that'll give you the room. And, I mean, I don't think we touched once that whole 10 laps, and he raced me hard and clean, and like I said, it's getting harder to find guys that'll race you that hard, but still give you the room and race you clean. And that's what I appreciate about racing against Greg like that. Racing that hard and no contact and putting on a heck of a show. I mean, it had been a heck of a show. I know from my seat it was.
Well, a heck of a show indeed. I mean, I think that's what made that race so spectacular, was given the track conditions you guys were on. It was not by any means a superior racetrack. It was really slick out there, and you guys on that track, I mean, to race that hard, and truly, you really didn't make contact, I don't think, one time. I mean, you guys were inches apart, into the corner, through the apex, out, down the backstretch. I mean, it was a phenomenal show. So to watch that, and I got to tell you, I just about yesterday got my voice back. I was pretty tore up from that one, but it was an awesome show. But that's the thing that made it, was two quality drivers that you guys obviously respect each other, and to give each other that kind of respect and that kind of room on the racetrack was what really made that race something special to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely we had that last restart, and Greg was leading, and Trevor was in second, and Trevor had his lane choice. He chose the outside, and I was pretty thankful for that, because I knew I was pretty good on the bottom there, that little strip. And it was pretty funny, because I was thinking, man, this is a blast from the past. Racing the old Super Sport days with me and Greg and Trevor, we used to battle it out for the win every single night back when we were just starting out, 17, 18 years old. And so it was pretty fun to race against those guys again, and to go up against that, especially for that caliber of a race, for the big money, and for a race that means so much, to me, because, I grew up at that racetrack for many, many years, and always looked up to Claire, and, racing around here definitely wouldn't be what it is today if it wasn't for him, that's for sure.
Me and Corey and stuff are talking too about, the Claire Cup, and for just for as long as it goes back, and Bill and Claire and of course Evelyn, still around and everything, and it was good to see Evelyn be there at the track. I only saw it through video and everything else. But let's talk a little bit about your mindset going into night number 2, knowing that you're going to start mid to backpack, $5,000 to win. You have some really, really tough competitors up there towards the top. What was your mindset going into night number 2?
Well, the first night we really had a pretty good car. We ended up second. It was pretty top dominant, but I was able to move around. I could actually run the bottom middle a little bit and kind of maintain, even though the top was that good. So, we made some changes the first night. Really brought the car to life, and so I was pretty confident going in. In the heats and stuff, I couldn't move as forward as I wanted to, as well as I wanted to. And I knew there's a lot of fast guys in front of me, and having to start as deep as I did, I knew that was going to be tough, because there are a lot of fast guys, and so. But I don't know. I just had one of those feelings where I was kind of zoned in, and it seemed like everything that could go my way went my way, and the car was just, phenomenal. We could run in through the bottom, and it didn't matter if we had to get the car to turn or not, I could drive it in straight and the thing would still rotate and roll around the bottom, and nobody else could really could stay down there. They straight up, and we could get underneath of them. But I don't know. It's just one of those weird weekends. It just felt like we were dialed in and couldn't do anything wrong, and it just kind of just fell in place for us. Especially on a big weekend like that, sometimes pressure can get to you, but I don't know, we just stayed calm and we didn't change a whole lot, and everything just kind of came to us. And I don't know, it's pretty big race to win, so pretty fortunate. It was pretty exciting. We had lots of friends and lots of family that really don't come to watch us all the time anymore. So we had a big crowd of fans and friends up there, so it was pretty neat to be able to win on a night like that.
Well, and you had your new sponsor, Interior Works, in the stands there watching that too, so that's a pretty cool deal. Now, night one, we saw the fast side of the racetrack was up at the top, and everybody was up there at the right rear of the cushion and running around the fence. And night number two, something you brought up was your car on the bottom was, like you said, flawless. It looked like you could do whatever you wanted to do with it as long as you were smooth on entry. You could get on the throttle whenever you wanted, and that car would just rotate and turn through the bottom better than I think I've ever seen anybody run the bottom, especially all weekend. But that car on the bottom was just, it was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was. The car was neutral enough to where we could move around, and like I said, we could run in straight in the corner. We didn't have to cock it or anything, and could get back in the throttle and just rotate and go forward. And we only made a few little changes, but it made a world of difference in that car. Because usually the Schwartz cars are always just awesome in the slick, and we fought a little bit of that last year, in the beginning of this year, when it did slick a little bit off. We would just be not as good as we wanted to be, and we were able to try a few things that first night and through the heat races and stuff, and definitely picked up some forward drive out of that thing. It really seemed to help out.
Well, and those Schwartz cars, on the bottom, on the slick, they're better than, I'll say it, they're better than any other car at that track. And you get those cars dialed in on the bottom when it's slick like that, and those things are just real tough to beat, whether you're in it or Russ or anybody else in a Schwartz. They just work really good on the bottom. I want to ask you, when you're sitting deep in that field like that, and you start moving through the field in that feature, at what point did you really feel like, you know what, we've got the car to do this?
We slowly started picking guys off and coming through there, and every restart we had, the car was really good on restarts, and we would always pick up a spot on every restart. And we kind of got to third, and we really weren't gaining on anybody, and we were kind of spread out a little bit, Greg and Trevor and then me. And we had another restart, and I knew that was my chance. And then got around Trevor there, and I saw the back end of Greg's car keep sliding out, and I'm like, then I knew I had a chance, because he was leaving just enough room underneath there, and that's where I was good at, and got to him. But like I said, we just battled it out for 10 laps, and I knew I could eventually get him, but I was going to have to work hard at it and just not get too excited, and it just worked out for us, I guess.
So the next question and stuff is, now you have another Claire Cup win underneath your resume. Because you're not running a full schedule, what's your schedule like for the rest of the 2016 season?
Well, we're going to run the late model again next weekend for the mid-season championship, and we're still got the modified torn apart. It kind of got torn up in Elma a couple weeks back for that Speed Week race, so I got the rear end out of that thing, getting it fixed. So the weekend after the mid-season, we'll go down to Cottage Grove for the Nationals down there, and then we'll be off. We'll be off after that. We'll do a couple races in August. We'll probably do a little bit more of the late model stuff because we picked up that new sponsor, Interior Works Northwest. So we've been trying to run that car a little bit more since we picked them up. So we'll do a few races in August. We'll try to do 2 cars if I have the help. And then Labor Day weekend we'll race both nights with at least 1 car, if not both cars. And then we'll do a couple races through September. And if everything goes good, we might, if we can not tear anything up and we can hold on to some of the money we got last weekend. We might try to head south, maybe go to Bakersfield. I'm going to have to look at the calendar and see what's going on that weekend, or maybe go to Vegas with the modified. Or so if we got some extra money, we might try to travel around a little bit here in the fall or maybe winter or something.
So that was both mine and Corey's question and stuff too, if you were going to hit Bakersfield this year. But one of my biggest questions and stuff is, because you're not running a full tentative schedule, am I ever going to see you up at Sunset Speedway up at my track?
You know, I was supposed to go up for Speed Week for the modified deal, but unfortunately in my line of business I was so busy getting parts for everybody else that it made me too busy to go race myself very much. So, and
we're talking about Left Coast Motorsports is your business there.
Yeah. So
give a little bit of plug out there for you.
Yeah. So too busy selling parts and working on shock, so we didn't get to make it up there. But I don't know if we're going to be able to make it up there this year or not. I got to kind of look at the schedule a little bit more, because August is kind of open right now. September, I know we're going to be at Willamette quite a bit and try to race both cars as much as possible.
Well, you have a lot of fans up here at Sunset Speedway, asking about you and asking when is the Left Coast, Jeremy Shank going to be up here. And I'm telling him, I'm like, well, I said, we're going to have him on Wednesday, and it happened to be that we didn't get the show up on Wednesday and happen to have it now. But there are a lot of fans up there at Sunset Speedway wondering when you're going to come up. So I'm just kind of plugging at you a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look at the calendar and try to see. I mean, I'd always like to get up there and race up there. It's always a lot of fun. And if anything, we'll come up with the modified. Maybe in August sometime. I'll have to take a look and see. But it's tough between work and family and everything else. We're just trying to race as much as we can, but try to keep everything balanced out. So
well, that's a tough thing to do. That's a tough thing to do with family and business and racing. And so far, you're doing a pretty good job. You're pretty successful in all three areas right now. So you keep up doing what you're doing because it's working for you. But I want to ask you a question. A lot of fans have asked me and have talked about, because you do run very, very well in the modified and very, very well in the late model. If Jeremy Shank had an unlimited schedule to go race, would it be in a late model or would it be in a modified?
I probably enjoy driving the late model more than I do the modified. But I actually probably race the modified more than I do the late model, and that's really because there's more big races around here for the mods. Just like having the nationals at Cottage Grove and Elma. You can just travel around. I like to travel around and do that stuff and go hit the big races where you got everybody that's anybody there. So, you really see how you line up against the best of the best, So that's one of the big reasons why I race the modified more. But I can tell you what, I had a ball last week in racing that late model, having all those late models there. I don't know how many we had, 31 or 35 or in that range, but you had guys coming out of the woodworks for that $5,000. You had Trevor driving Darren's car and Greg driving Jimmy's car and Casey Vitale driving one of Schramm's cars, and everybody coming out of the woodwork to go race for the big money. And that's the way it kind of always used to be. And the best of the best late model stuff was there, and you guys had guys from California and stuff coming up. So that was a lot of fun I had last week in racing that late model. But there's nothing beats that horsepower and those late models, flinging that thing around, around the racetrack. But it would definitely probably be a late model, I would say.
Well, I figured that because this is the time you've got in them, and just it really, really fits your driving style. You're just so smooth, and to win in a late model, you got to be fast and smooth, and you've done that to a high success rate in a lot of features. Strawberry Cups, track championships. It's always fun to watch you race, and I don't know if you heard us talking on there earlier, but we were talking about in the announcers booth about who was going to win this race, and I'm looking at that field and how they lined up, and I looked at the third row and I saw Duty and Maya, and I said, man, that third row is going to tough to beat. That's kind of tough to beat. The winner's probably going to come out of there. And then Mike Patterson out of Santa Maria went with his home staters and went with the California guys, and then Adam Passmore says, I'm going to go towards the back of the pack, and I saw Trevor in the 46, and he was about mid-pack, and I thought, you're going to take Trevor in the 46. He goes, I'm going farther back. I said, what? And I looked back there, and I saw you. I thought, man, that's a big gamble being